Welcome back to part 4 of Uzi Talking To with me, Jeff Ollerhead, and Eddie Trucker Williams. So Eddie, continuing on with your life, just obviously you had the brother, unfortunately he passed away, and there was your brother Sam.
Sam, yeah.
So
Great. It's the thing with Sam, he was like a gift from my mum and dad to me, because I was the first, like, so. But all through his life, he sort of come everywhere with me. I always looked at, he had his own mates, he had loads of mates.
what was the age difference?
4 years, I think.
Like half Philip then.
4 years, yeah. Well, as he was growing up, he was mine, if you know what I mean. I protected him, and you know, no one ever bothered him. And he said this when he was dying. He said to me, he said, "I've had a good life," you know. He said, and, you know, he said, "No one's ever really bothered me." He said, "Because of you." He said, but that's how it was with him. He was mine, like. So as we grew up, we were like bastards and that, like, but we had a laugh, and he was a funny lad. I'll say he was funny. He was hilarious. But growing up and that, he was into his motorbikes and that.
Yeah.
And where we lived in Westway, what was that fella's name? I forgot his name now. Wagger's uncle, Warren Steele. It was his uncle. He had a Hilux Jeep, and he used to have his motocrossers in the back of it and all that. And he used to be in Westway, and he goes to see his girlfriend and that. Evo, his name was. Evo, yeah. And our Sam was always, when he was little, he was obsessed with these motorbikes. Anyway, in the end, my dad got him a motorbike, bought him a little motorbike. So he was all made up and that, and we went over the quarry, and our Sam's, I'm going to get on it. And I said, give us a go. My dad said, you have a quick go, and then he can have a long go. So I get on it, and first hill I come through, I've done a jump thing, and all the spokes collapsed on the back. He was gutted. But that was it then, I wasn't allowed on any motorbikes. But he started buying his own. And I remember my dad coming home, he used to love his garden, my dad. And it was raining, and our son was practising his donuts and everything in the garden.
Just on a motocross, yeah.
On a motocrosser. And the garden just looked like a mud pit. My arm went off in cake. And he saying to me, who's done this in the garden? Our son saying, it's all right, but and I was like, what? It's not me, I don't mean. But he grew into the motorbikes then, and he become like on the motocrossing and all that, and he was good at it.
It's a competition,
yeah. He was good at it, like, he just thrived on it. And then he got into road bikes, you know, racing bikes, and he wheelied a Fireblade once from the BP garage on the Mells Stretch.
Yeah.
He wheelied from there all the way to near enough the bridge in Mells.
So it's about 2 miles, 3 miles?
Yeah.
Really?
He had it up, and he sort of stood up like that, and I was following him in the car, and I was like, well, we didn't have cameras then and all that, no video and all that, he didn't have none of that then, we didn't have none of that technology. But I remember him coming down, we were outside the Morton Arms when they were having a bevy, and you could hear him racing and all that, and he come past, and then he went back over the hill, and he come back, and as he come back over the hill, he was coming down the hill on one wheel, and he carried on past the shops and everything all the way down on one wheel. Everyone was like, yeah. But yeah, he loved his.
Did he get ever chased by the police on the older bikes?
Yeah, he used to,
that was buzz.
Get off, yeah.
That was
he used to get off, he used to say, he had a little number plate on his smoke, he was only about that big.
Yeah.
But one of the numbers was a bit wrong, and
yeah.
He got the number, he used to just go, gone like.
That's it with kids now, don't they? That's the buzz. They get like an adrenaline rush. And you see like on the bikes and bikers, and they're just like getting chased.
Yeah. But you know, he was motorbikes with his life. I mean, he sat wagons out of it, same as us, like my dad saw us as everything we knew.
I remember him, my first when I met Sam, he was always smiling and laughing. But he got into music, and he was a great drummer.
He was, yeah. He used to get on my tit, actually, when I was a kid. He used to be playing the drums, and you're like, oh, shut up, will you?
Stay away to that.
That's what he would have done to him one night. He'd been playing the drums and all that. And where we lived in Westway, we used to share a bedroom. They could hit, and oh, give me head in. And he went to bed and he went to sleep. I come in at the lighter, and his toe was hanging off the bed. And I just lit the light on his toe, and his toe started going black. And next thing he just jumped up, and I jumped on the bed like that, and he was screaming, "Me toe, me toe." And I went, what's the matter? He didn't know it, burns it. Another one of them, we used to work on the bins together. And he got this job, and I wasn't working, so I went with him on this round. We used to go to this place in Liverpool, and it was a photograph place, and we used to spend about an hour there. There was all barrels of photographs, and we used to just throw them in the bin. But what we found, it was all these photographs from hotel rooms and everything, you know, fellas had been with women and all this. And I thought, I can't pick them up and all. So we go through them, like, look at it, there's birds with all the gear on and all that, and fellas just lying there with nothing on and all this. Straight to this fella here. So we go to
the catalogue.
Well, we goes there one day, and he goes in the wagon, and there's this picture of this fella, and he looked proper, like gay, you know what I mean?
Oh.
And lying there with nothing on and all this, and he did a little pose. I thought, right in the pocket with that. Yeah, so, and when we come home, we used to throw our gear on the floor, and go for a shower. So he throws his gear on the floor, jumps in the shower, and I put this photograph and the wrote on the back. "Dear Sam, have you told your mum and dad about us yet? I haven't seen you for a few days. All my love, Jacob." I put on it with these kisses, and I put it in the back pocket because my mum would come in straight away and grab the clothes straight down the wash, but she always checked the pocket.
Check the pocket, yeah.
So I'm sat on the stairs and I'm like this.
Waiting for it.
Next thing it is, "Oh my God!" I thought, has she read the back or seen the front first? Next thing it is, my dad, what? Eddie, get it. And I'm going, and all I heard was my dad, "Oh no, not that, Sam, not that." Next thing they come in, and I heard them coming, so I ran up, and he's in the shower, and my mum's going, "Sam, is there something you've got to tell us?" He's going, "Yeah, wash me gear for us." "No, have you got to tell me something?" And then she showed him the picture. "I haven't seen the dick, he's not dead." And my mum and dad were stood there like that. But then my other brother ended up gay anyway.
Oh, you're Tom.
Yeah.
Well, it's nothing wrong being gay, you know, that's the way people are, you know.
A lot of people ask me, "Well, Tom, how did you know," a lot of my mates and that, they'd be like, you know, you think, well, how did you put up with that? And I always thought he was gay, and you always knew when he was a kid there was something wrong with him. Well, I shouldn't say that's something wrong with him, he was different. But it didn't bother me, he was, you know, he was into hoovers and wearing high heels and all that, but I reckon you are. Wearing high heels and that.
Well,
but,
might be odd click clack sometimes. Yeah.
But it's all a group. But anyway, it wasn't until I watched this programme with this fella in, and he was a woman in a man's body and all that, and I thought, that's him. Because the size of him, you know, he's bigger than me, he's humongous. Yeah. And he used to say to me, "I'm going to get an operation and all that," and I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "You know, I said, "See, they do part X's, mine's worn out." I said, "They do a part X." I said, "You know, you're going to get this operation." I said, "What are you going to do about that big Adam's apple on the shoulders and all that?" Anyway, but he was all right, and
everybody took to him though, didn't they? You know, it's,
yeah,
everybody took to us, it's like growing up, and as I said,
he's like me, Tom, he's not bothered what people think about him. I'm not bothered about what people think about me. A lot of people don't like me, a lot of people like me, I'm not bothered. Doesn't bother me, but
it's a rocky road, Tom, and but he's bounced back now, you know.
Yeah,
he's bounced back.
I seen him the other week. Yeah, he's done his time and all that, and he looks the best now I've seen him in 20 years. 20 years, and he's sticking to it.
Yeah.
But I kept saying to him, you know, my mum and dad put him in rehab and all this, caping and all that. He didn't want to change. He wasn't up for.
He said to me,
"You gotta do it yourself."
He said to me one time, "If anybody picks on me, don't worry, I've got loads of names." He said, "I've got loads of names I can throw out, all these straight fellas, yeah."
I think that's what, yeah.
I'll write a book about them. I was like, all right, so I made up one in your book, mate. I always said that on to him. Do you know the thing is, obviously moving on with Sam, now, I always used to go and watch him in the plough. Is it true that what was your connection to the plough? Was you born there or?
Yeah, my nan and grandma had the plough.
That's a pub, yeah, in Morgan.
They had it for years. I was, well, made there.
Made in the plough.
Born in the Middle Lane.
Yeah.
But as a baby I lived there, and then my mum and dad got their own house and all that. But I was always in the plough as a kid, you know, as a baby. My granddad Eric used to run it, and my nanny Edna. And my granddad was a lovely fella, big hefty fella, and my nan was a little, you know, that's where the temper comes from, I think.
Fine.
If she didn't like you, she'd tell you. She's one of these people, you know, just no messing about.
Did you ever get on the ale? What was your first time when you got drunk? Oh, you must have robbed ale in there.
Oh yeah. Used to go outside and you'd sit there and you'd be like, oh, that tickles. You used to get, when you were a kid and you got pissed, you got like a tickle in the head, didn't you? You'd go numb and you just sit there like, must be got drugs, do you see, or something? Because that's another thing, I've never took drugs.
You've never taken
I've never took drugs. Well, yeah, no, I haven't. And the only reason, I mean, I've seen what it does to, from an early age, I've seen what drugs do to families and all that. Do you know what I mean? Personal.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons. But I got to the stage when I was a teenager, I was a bit of a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
And I thought, I better stay away from these drug things, because just for personal public safety, really, because I'm bad enough on the ale. Imagine me on all that caper. Nah. You'd see some of your mates and they'd be, you know, off the cake and that, and you'd be like, not for me, that.
Just by the faces and stuff.
Yeah, public safety. Public safety.
So, look, obviously you've always been into work, you never shy from work. And
work makes you happy.
Yeah, so Sam was gigging, and what was the band called with Willie Ashton?
Homegrown.
Homegrown, yeah, Homegrown. They used to come and perform, and I
thought Willie Ashton, Sam Williams, Paul Knott, and Steve Price.
Yeah, they were great bands, you know, because what we're going to
Steve Price, who got it together.
They were in battle with my brother's band, The View, weren't they?
The View, yeah. Well, funny enough, me and Sue ended up living in the plough.
Yeah.
And The View asked, could they practice upstairs?
Who was in The View again, so?
Mike Abbo, your Phil Ollerhead,
Jamie
Carter, and Barrow was the drummer. Yeah. Barrow was another good drummer, he was a good drummer, Barrow. They ended up practicing in the room upstairs in the plough, and the noise was horrific. People would say, he goes, what's The View? And say, what for? I fucking watch him every fucking night.
They'd be the first one to make The View. They had a big dispute, didn't they? Because another band who now became famous, The View.
The View done well.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? They took their name. I remember our kid kicking off, that's our name, that's.
Yeah.
Because they were in Lipper Record, in the Lippers, they had the first name.
Where they used to practice upstairs, the door had like a jail door. It had a sliding thing and you could put your face in.
Yeah.
And I used to open the door and go, shit! But they were good, like, but when I used to come home every weekend and be lying on the couch, next thing you hear someone, you think, who's that? Next thing you hear, ding, bam, 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 and I'll go, oh, fucking hell. But in the end, they put, your Phil came up with this idea for egg boxes, and they covered the wall with egg boxes.
Still with loads of yolk on those.
No yolk, there was no yolk.
There was no yolk.
I opened the door and I said, what's going on in here? It's the studio. But he's feels like you, he's quite funny and he's comical. And Mike was, what I found with Mike Abbo, he's very dry.
Yeah.
He's very dry. And he says what he feels. Not afraid to say what he likes, like.
But get him on here. Get him on here.
Yeah, get him on here. He's funny.
Get him on here. Please. Look, I was going to say with Sam, just tell, because it was going on, it was so shocking. Tell him about how you first, about his illness and what was his illness?
He had cancer, he had that melanoma, but it was inside. It was a rare kind.
It's like a skin cancer?
Yeah, it's like a skin cancer, really inside.
So what age was this?
He was 34, 35 he was. 35. But he didn't feel right, and he went to the doctors and that, and they said to him, oh, you're stressed, and he was like me, Sam, he didn't stress, he said, I don't get stressed, and, how's everything all right with your marriage? Turn around, he was like, oh, yeah, everything's great.
Did you see a difference in him?
Yeah. But this went on for about 3 months, and he kept going to the doctor, and he kept fobbing him off, but in the end, he said, I'm going to the hospital. I said, well, just go to the hospital and get blood tests. And that's when he found out, and he said, you know, a month earlier we could have caught that, blah, blah. And then 10 months after that, he passed away, like. He was only 35.
Flatland doctors, and you think.
I wanted to kill it. I wanted to burn the doctor's surgery down and everything, but it's...
Because you get some doctors now and they just think, no, they don't know, and I think most people do know instinctively.
Yeah.
No, listen,
It's
I
a
want
select-
this scan because
yeah.
I know there's nothing wrong with me.
I think it's a selection process myself, but that's mine.
Do you think anything with the cancer was caused by anything like what you were saying with fumes or?
Well, that's what he was saying to me once. And, he said about the fuel he used to work. He was a tanker driver.
Like yourself, yeah.
Yeah. But he used to get plenty of slot, you know what I mean, in the van.
Tell me the time as Sammy always, as I said, if you don't mind, because he won't get done now, obviously. Did he robbed the sailor or something? He robbed the tanker?
No, he used to...
robbed the tanker.
What he used to do, he used to have... they're all modern tankers now, but, you know, you'd have, like, the dregs left on them. But then the dregs would build up.
Okay.
So he'd always have fuel in the van, you know,
Yeah.
and he'd throw it in the van, and that's what he said to me. He said, I think all that robbing that fuel, he said, I think I breathe too much of it in.
It's like, it was like the Robin Hood one, he'd give everybody a bit of fuel.
He'd give anyone anything, no, Sam, it's like me really. I mean, I think of it, I used to say to him about, you know, when the lottery first come on and all that, I said, if we won the lottery, I said, we wouldn't be rich for long, I said, because we'd just give it all away. I said,
One big party.
that's what I'm like that, and he was like that. You know, if someone's struggling with me, something, if I've got it, you can have it, you know what I mean? You can take it. I don't need it.
So how long was his, when he got his illness?
10 months.
10 months, because I went the later stages and he was still, you know, he looked obviously gaunt and you're thinking, and he was just himself. And he just said, that's just the way my cards are being dealt.
He ended up with that moon face, and
the moon face.
He went on the steroids, and he said to me, that's the only thing that's annoying me. He said, look at my face, I look like I've been hit with a rock.
Like Sue Lang. Oh, do you know what though? I mean, on his last stage, which you remember, he just said about, he drove his motorbike, and what was that about?
Yeah, you know, I used to go, because I worked away, he come with me to work, he said to me, well, come work with you. Just go in a wagon with the last sort of time, and then they took him out with me for the day, and it was horrible seeing him, you know. It was the only time when he was ill. I've always sort of, going back to what I said when we were kids, I'd always sort of do stuff for him, or I'd be there for him. But when he got this, there was nothing I could do for him.
What was going on in your mind as well, you know?
Exactly, there was nothing I could do for it. I was thinking, God, he's got 2 young kids, William and Ella there, and he's got Kate. But there was nothing, I could not physically do anything. And it was the horriblest feeling that you've done something all the time for someone else. You know, you could do anything you want for anyone, but there was nothing you could do about that. And I was thinking, I wish it was like that fella on the Green Mile, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there was nothing I could do for him. But on this Sunday afternoon, I was sat there and he said to me, he said, I'm going to go out on my bike for a bit. And I said, they've took your licences off you and all that. He said, what are they going to do to me? They stop me? He said, it's not a children on. He said, and he took off, he went on his, and I thought, well, you can't stop him, you know what I mean? And that was only, he went out on that bike, and I think it was about 4 weeks after that he died. Like.
He died.
I remember him dying, and we were in Clatterbridge, and I was stood outside, and this nurse come running out, and she said to me, you better come quick. And I thought, she's been thrown to gone quick.
She's gone quick.
So I get in the room, like, and lucky enough, most of the family were there, you know, and all my aunties and uncles and all that, my mum and dad.
So how old was his kid? So he's got
Liam and Ella.
Liam and Ella.
I don't even know my own kids' ages.
Yeah.
I think Liam's 14 and Ella's...
Well, at the time, you know, it's...
But they're only babies then. Ella was only a baby, and Liam was only about 6 or 7. But it was heartbreaking, and then we just sort of watched him then, and he died, like, and you know.
The funeral was a big turnout, wasn't it?
Oh.
You knew a lot of people. Remember?
Do you remember what happened there? But this was a blessing in disguise, I've said. And Mr. Bell was doing the funeral. You know, he's done all our family funerals. You lovely fella, Mr. Bell. And it turned up that as we were going to the church, there was people everywhere, and I thought, bloody hell, look at all these people, like. And, but he was a well-liked fella, he was a loved fella.
Oh, aye.
So he pulls up outside. My dad was a mess. My dad had took it bad, like, and, you know, with Jenny father. But my mum was took it bad. But my dad wanted to carry the coffin, but he was shaking, and I kept thinking to myself, he's not going to be able to carry this coffin. And my uncles who were carrying it with us. So I kept looking at my dad and I thought, he's not going to be able to do this. So I kept looking behind me and I was thinking, I'll get our Jake. Our Jake was...
Your oldest son.
Yeah, I'll get our Jake to step in and I'll get my dad to walk in front or something. So as the coffin come out, we goes and my dad was there and he said, no, I'm going to be alright, I'm going to be alright. So the coffin come out now, it's at the back and the dad gets the coffin. And you've got this brass plate on the coffin. So as he gets it like that, I'm like, and I looked at this plate like that and I went, Mr. Bell. And he walked round, he went,
There was about 500 people there.
and now they're all queued up down the right.
Church, yeah.
So he comes home and he goes, everything okay? I said, who's this David fella? And he looked at me and went, pardon? And I went, and he went, oh my God. So I went back in.
I remember.
So he slided back in, and he was a bag of nails, Mr. Bell. He fell apart, and he said, come here. I said, don't worry about it.
It's reputation.
Our Sam was a joker, and I was thinking to myself, has he done this on purpose?
Done on purpose, yeah.
So people are in the thing going, oh my God, that's horrendous, and blah, blah.
Yeah.
Take them to court, and I said, I'll behave. I said, don't worry about it. But Mr. Bell said to me, he said, listen, we're going to have to take the hearse. I said, do what you've got to do. Now, I didn't know, on a hearse, the morning funeral's on the top,
Yeah.
and the afternoon one's underneath. So he was underneath. So they went in a side road and come back. But in the meantime, my dad was laughing about it, everyone was starting.
Broke the ice, didn't he?
Broke the ice.
Because that's right, yeah.
So when he come back, my dad went and checked that, but he'd become relaxed. And he carried the coffin in, and I thought, I was happy then. But it was funny, and he was a funny person.
So you know, it's you never know. I mean, with life spirits. Anyway, stand by for part 5. Thank you very much. Take care.